good morning, everybody. Well, it might not be morning where you're at. I just wanted to kind of tune in real quick and show you guys something. As you guys know, I am a high-tech guy. I like to use high-tech servos. I don't have nothing against anybody else. Servos and, you know, everybody else, Futaba, whoever makes servos. There's a lot of good ones out there, but me personally, I prefer high-tech. And in my dealings with high-tech, obviously I found some weaknesses, and I wanted to kind of show you guys what I do to save money on that, because well, as most of us know, servos aren't cheap, and not very many of them are waterproof, and the waterproof ones usually aren't very strong. So what I did is recently, oh, sorry for the shaky camera and all that stuff, recently I purchased this guy. That is, sorry about that, a high-tech 7954 SH. That is a high voltage ultra torque servo. Now you see all these other parts I have laying around here. Obviously that's because I've been doing a little bit of Frankensteining, I guess you could call it. And you don't mind, I know I've got some janky soldering there just because I was testing it out. I wanted to show you guys that it worked. Basically what I did was I just got my new servos in from CKRC yesterday, and or the day before yesterday, and in all my excitement I installed it into the yellow Jeep, one of them, and went out trail running. And sorry guys, the dog just came in. I went outside and I did some trail running with the yellow Jeep. I was having kind of like a withdrawal. I haven't driven it in at least a couple weeks, and I just wanted to go drive it. So I went and shot some video yesterday, which you guys will be seeing here shortly as well. And in the process, I completely spaced out that I forgot to waterproof it, and I hit a fat water crossing. And yeah, then I rolled the truck over sideways and basically soaked that new servo right there in the Deschutes River. So long story short, I got home and the back of the case had this going on. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but you see that bump sticking up there? Yeah, that is where some of the electronics inside the servo actually melted. I don't know if you can see that. Actually melted the back casing, and it stunk like wet electronics or melted electronics. So I figured that servo was done. But being the kind of like parts geek that I am and loving to tinker with electronics, I went ahead and I took it all apart, and I remembered I had an old 7955, where is it? There's a, you can't really see it, I got it all painted up, but this is the old high-tech 7955 TG, which is a titanium geared servo. The SH is the steel geared servo. And if you guys have questions about that, I can touch on that later. I actually put a post up on my Facebook really explaining the differences between those two servos. And basically I got this wild hair that maybe I could Frankenstein the two together and save my most recent purchase, this guy. Well, and also save face with CKRC because they just sent it to me. So what I did was after some inspecting and checking out the boards and all that, I found out that that little guy right there on the tip had went belly up on me. It got wet. And believe it or not, this is the one out of the steel gear servo. Notice there's no motor on the bottom of it. Well, that's because I removed the motor that was on the bottom of it and swapped it out with the one that was in the titanium gear servo. Then I swapped the cases and Frankenstein them all together with the best of what I had available. And long story short, I now have a, well, I don't know what you would call it, high-tech 7954.5 SHTG, I don't know. So on the 7955 TG, I had a bad gear, and I can't seem to find it. Oh, there it is, right there. Okay, so I had a bad gear on the end of the motor. Now they'll say that you can't blow out the titanium gear servos. That is false. I've blown out the titanium gear servos. That little gear right there, as you can see, has got a groove right through the middle of it. Okay, well that's the gear that comes on the end of the motor that drives the servo. So what I did was I couldn't get the gear off the other motor, so I just went ahead and swapped the entire motor out. Right, I pulled the motor out and swapped it from this board, which is bad, the 7954 SH board. I pulled the motor off of that, pulled the motor off the 7955 board. I swapped the two motors around and then reinstalled them using the high-tech 7954 SH gears. So now it's a steel geared servo, but with the titanium gear board in there and the titanium geared housing. So it's really yeah, it should be pretty heavy duty. I turned it on earlier and it all seemed to work fine. Matter of fact, hold on a second, I will let me set this down for a sec. Let's see if I can get her to stay put, and I will see if I can go ahead and turn this on for you real quick. Turn the radio on, plug it in the truck, and alright, now just to show you that it does work, here I got my radio up here, just a cheapo RC 4-wheel drive one. Voila. So there you have it. And sometimes, you know, accidents happen, things happen. You wind up blowing out a gear or forgetting to waterproof something or getting in a puddle you didn't mean to get into, and you know, a lot of us don't have the money to go purchasing $100 servos over and over and over again. So maybe this will help one of you guys out there that's got a bunch of baked up servos laying around that you know, beat to hell. Maybe you can take them apart and make something cool out of it. It's really not that hard to swap the motors. On these boards you'll see there's two larger solder joints on there. Let me see if I can get something to point at that so you can see. My finger's too fat. So two larger solder joints, one right there and one right there. Just take your solder gun and heat those up slowly, or well, yeah, quickly. Be careful with it, you don't want to heat the whole board up. And pull on the motor at the same time, and you can just slip it right out. And then go through and do the same thing to put it back in on the other board. You can swap gears around a lot of times. There's a lot of things you can do to really keep a servo alive. And as you guys have seen before, I got my box of death sitting over there. It's a box full of blown up electronics. I actually keep that for times like this because you never know when you're going to need to put something together. So anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. Hope that helps you out. I didn't want to I don't know, I didn't want to keep that one to myself. I was pretty excited. I stayed up last night and figured that out, and hopefully it helps one of you guys out there save a couple bucks. Alright, stay tuned. I got some cool trailing videos coming up. Took the yellow Jeep out and did some awesome rock crawling and trailing and did some cool climbing and stuff, and hopefully I'll have that chopped up for you guys later, maybe tomorrow. Alright, have a good day, guys.